Hello and welcome to The Buzz. I'm your host, Dion Spires. If you've ever walked through Lakeside Village in Lakeland, you've probably noticed a university building standing alongside the shops and restaurants. That building is Polk County's very own campus of Webster University. And if you're curious about what kind of learning options Webster University offers, then you won't want to miss this episode. Today in studio, we have two special guests, Sheree Saulter, Webster's Community Relations Coordinator, and Dr. Berney Wilkinson, an adjunct professor of counseling and human services. How are you guys doing today?
Fantastic.
Good. Thank you guys for coming out all the way from Lakeland to come talk to me about your services. I've seen Webster University on the sign of that building, but I had no idea that there's actually classes that take place within the shopping center. That's really interesting.
Yes.
So let's start off talking about Webster University and kind of who you guys are and some of the history of Webster University, when it came to Lakeland and that sort of thing.
Okay. Well, first to start off, Webster University, our main campus is located in St. Louis, Missouri. I started there in 1915, and I believe it came to the Lakeland area about 1998.
Yeah, late 90s.
Yeah.
Okay. So where was it prior to Lakeside Village? Because Lakeside hasn't been around since
It was
1998.
actually by the old mall.
Right. It was a couple different campus locations. It was by the old mall, and then there was just off of South Florida Avenue for a while, right there near the bus terminal.
Okay.
And then we moved to Lakeside. So.
Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about the school and what they do. What is the kind of specialty area of the school? What kind of classes do you guys offer?
I believe Webster's Lakeland campus, our niche is that we only offer graduate programs.
Okay.
Most colleges, universities in this area offer both bachelor's and graduate. We strictly have graduate programs only, and it's mostly working adults that attend our classes.
Okay, so that's pretty unique. What brought you guys to Webster University? What's your background?
Well, I am a clinical psychologist, and I was, in a past life, I was an assistant professor in the College of Medicine over at USF. Okay. And when I left my position there, I came over, and the director of Webster at the time was a guy that I knew, and he kind of recruited me to come in and teach a couple of classes that they needed that was just kind of getting started there. And so that was back in 2008, I believe, and that's how I got there. I was recruited for a few specific classes. So,
I actually started with Webster. I didn't know you started in 2008 as well. I started in 2008, recruited by the same director.
Wow.
So I actually was a student there first. I was studying clinical mental health counseling. I have my degree as well in counseling. I have a private practice as well in counseling. But that's how I started. I started out there as a student, and then he asked me if I wanted a job. I have higher education experience, over 15 years of that, so it just kind of worked.
Yeah. So, Sheree, it's interesting that you were a student first. Mm-hmm. What brought you to Webster as a student? What was the attraction there?
Mainly that it was local. I actually, like many others, unfortunately, Webster seems to be a best kept secret, which I'm doing my best not to keep it such a secret. Right. But I hadn't heard of Webster University, so I had to do a lot of research on, the college itself. And then when I met with the director and he told me about, the programs, the clinical mental health was the one that I decided. It just seemed like the right fit for me.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit about your experience as a student, since we have that insight here. In your time at Webster as a student, how was it different from a normal college experience? What did you like about it? What stood out to you?
For me, what stood out is that it was very small. The classes are very small, maybe 10 students, 12 students, somewhere in that area. And then so we really got to know instructors like Dr. Wilkinson here. So you kind of develop a relationship with the instructor, also with the students that you are actually in class with.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I love a more intimate learning setting. I went to Florida Southern College, and the reasoning was similar to you. I wanted something local. My mom and my sister had been there, but I knew that, you know, I wasn't going to have an auditorium of 200 students in my math class where I can't ask questions. You know,
Exactly.
My fiance went to USF, and she had a completely different experience than I did. So it's really interesting that you say that. It's good that you found something that was a good fit, that you enjoyed that atmosphere of.
Yeah,
that helps the learning experience.
At the graduate level, you're also working. So that gave me the opportunity to attend classes at night while I worked during the day.
Yeah, definitely. So you said that the school started in St. Louis, Missouri. There's a location in Lakeland, but how many locations are there? Because I know it's pretty broad.
I believe we have approximately 90.
Wow.
We have, they say, 4 continents, 8 countries, and 6 cities.
Wow.
So
That's a huge reach.
Yes.
So the Lakeland campus is referred to as a metro campus, right? So what does that term really mean?
that term just means extended campus.
Okay.
I don't know who came up with the word metro, because Polk County, there's nothing metro really about.
I'm not going to say that.
So it's not a big city. I'm from New York, so
Right, so you're used to much bigger.
Yeah, I'm looking. When I say metro, I'm thinking, city. So I don't know who came up with the word metro, but we're really an extended campus.
Okay. And what do you mean by extended campus? Is that just, it's one of many, or?
It's one of many.
Okay.
So the main campus, because it's located in St. Louis, we have campuses throughout the world. So we just call them like an extension of that of Webster University.
Okay. And some people may be interested to know, and I don't know if you have an answer for me or not on this one. It's interesting that it's in a shopping center. How did you guys end up in Lakeside Village? Where did that location come from?
The same director that recruited both of us. He was in search. I think it was just the location.
Yeah, I think it was the newer facilities, because it wasn't too long, I don't think, after Lakeside opened that we moved there. So it was the newer facilities, and one of the things that maybe we'll get into is that one thing that Webster really works to offer is sort of an outreach as it relates to web-based courses, and it offers students a lot of flexibility as it relates to being able to take courses online. And we have it set up now where you can even come to the university to take online courses, so that people who don't have the resources at home can use there. So.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And let's actually dive into that a little further. My next question for you was going to be, how does this differ from your typical other Polk County colleges? So Polk State, Florida Southern, we've got a couple other ones in the area. So what are the major differences between your average college and Webster University?
Well, I think that some of the programs that we offer at Webster just aren't really offered at many of the other universities or colleges here in Polk County. Back when we had USF Lakeland, they were one of the few counselor ed programs, for example, and then when they left, we were really left with not many other options. There's Webster and I think Southeastern, but I'm not sure that there's any other colleges around here in Polk County that offer graduate level counseling programs. Florida Southern is really picking up on some, and that's great. But at the time, that's really all that there was available.
Right. So you would say that the coursework is what really kind of sets you guys apart from other ones?
Yeah, most of the other colleges that I know of, their faculty is pretty university or college based. So they're at the college, at the university, whereas all of our instructors are working professionals as well, and so we work in the field, and we come in and we can talk about, this is the situation I ran into today, and so here's how it relates to what we're talking about in our subject matter for tonight. So we can really tie that in and help the students appreciate what it's like in real life, using these same strategies or these same concepts that they're learning in class, how we use them in our everyday profession.
That goes for both the counseling programs and our business programs as well.
Okay. And on a graduate level, I imagine making those real world connections is especially important so that they can really understand how to apply what you guys are teaching them, right?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned counseling and you mentioned business. Is that your primary focus at Webster University, or what kind of programs are offered other than those?
So those are the primary programs that we do offer. We have HR management, so that's human resources management. We have management and leadership. We have the MBA program, the clinical mental health, and we just recently added human services, which seems to be taken off. And then we have a couple of certificate programs, but it's still at the graduate level. Our biggest one that we just started is project management.
Great. And since 2008, can you guys talk about any growth that you've seen? Like, how has the popularity of Webster and these programs in particular grown? What is your attendance like?
I would say at this point in time, our classrooms, we would like to see a lot more growth, let's say that. We have, with the economy, I would say, there's been some challenges there with people wanting to continue to go back to graduate school, trying to weigh out, do I take out a loan, because that is basically all that's available for graduate students, is student loans. And, with the economy, the little challenges that we're having, you have to debate on, do I make this investment in my future, or, do I pay my bills at home right now? So we're kind of, getting out of that right now. I know this term we met goal, so that was great.
Good. Yeah. And you mentioned before that this is kind of one of the best kept secrets. So hopefully, maybe if you guys are getting the word out and people are seeing what you guys offer, then we can help you get that growth.
Definitely, definitely.
We're going to take a quick break. After the break, we'll talk more about your programs and what really makes you guys special. Stay tuned. We'll have more with Sheree Saulter and Dr. Berney Wilkinson up next.
Maria, so how's work?
It was fourth period biology. Our students just weren't getting how easily viruses spread. So Miss Bell and I had them role play a zombie virus outbreak. By the time they had all learned the lesson, all the living were dead. Hey, how's your job going?
That big sales meeting I planned? Next year, I might get to go.
Cool.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm here with Sheree Saulter and Dr. Berney Wilkinson, who are here today talking about Webster University in Lakeland. Now, before the break, we talked about your programs that you guys offer at Webster University and your Lakeland campus. But Sheree, we were talking off camera, and you mentioned that you guys also have community programs where you guys kind of give back to the community and offer something for them. Tell me a little bit about those.
So our biggest one is called Webster Works, and this is where the university as a whole picks a day in October, any day in October, and we volunteer within an organization. One year we picked Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranch, and we did a fashion show with the young girls there, where we had the students participate in doing their makeup and getting dressed, dressing them up and doing fashion, just kind of training them. It really helped them with their self-esteem. We've done a couple of things like Habitat of Lakeland, where we painted houses, and so that's what our campus has done. Some of the other things that we do is we offer our space to anyone in the community or an organization if they would like to use the space at no charge. Wow. And during the daytime, those classrooms are not being used. Right. So sometimes we'll have professional development seminars that we use it for, and actually Dr. Wilkinson and his partner are working on some series starting up for us.
Right. Yeah, we're looking at developing a number of different series of workshops for other professionals and also just for interested community members who on a variety of topics. The first one that we're really looking at is the developing brain. We're going to talk about how the brain develops over throughout childhood and through adolescence into early adulthood, and kind of over a series of a few weeks, kind of walk everyone through that so that we have a better understanding of how our brain works and everything. So if that one goes as well as we're hoping it will go, we're going to start developing a number of courses like that for people.
So is that something that if people from the community wanted to come and get involved with that, is there like a tuition charge for that, or is it free of charge? Or?
Yeah, we're going to, it's just going to be available. There will be, we're going to figure out something as it relates to CEUs for professionals and that kind of stuff, because of the stuff we have to file with the state. But no, my whole thing has always been, I want to get as much information about this stuff to as many people as possible. So, nice. So it'll be available.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you talked about this workshop is about the developing brain, but what is the coursework that you generally kind of have your hands in? What courses do you teach at Webster?
I have, over the years, I've taught a number of courses. The first one that I was really brought in for was psychopharmacology, which had always been my favorite course, and that one's shifted to an online-based course now. But over the years, I've picked up a couple of fun, challenging courses. I teach research, I teach program development, and I teach psychodiagnostics and what is that other one? I can't remember the name of it now. Well, the name of it has escaped me. But I'm sure it's probably the most important course that I teach.
Of course, yeah.
But so I teach a number of courses, and and I really enjoyed the opportunity to work with some of the other instructors there on developing some of their courses, like the group course and the family systems courses and things like that. So we offer a lot of different courses there.
Yeah, sounds like some complex stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have an easy job.
No, but it's fun. We really, I think of the consensus with the instructors. We all really enjoy what we do there. So
that's awesome. That makes a huge difference.
Absolutely.
I love when we do these shows because we talk to people, professors in particular, and they're so passionate about what they teach and what they do and what they specialize in. Which, to have someone who's passionate teaching you, you're way more receptive to picking it up and really engaging in it. So that's awesome that you guys have that type of a atmosphere.
Absolutely.
Now, Sheree, you mentioned one of the biggest things for going to school, I think, for any age is the financial aspect of it. You mentioned that with graduate programs, there's really only student loans. Do you guys have any kind of financial aid that you guys offer or can help people to get if they're trying to attend Webster, or is it just student loans?
The majority of schools, that is what is offered.
Okay.
Graduate school is graduate school, and student loans is all that really is available. You have some campuses that may, give $100 or, things like that, but the bulk of it is going to be student loans.
Okay, fair enough. So you said also in the first half that you touched briefly on kind of your age demographic. What is kind of your general age demographic?
I say our age range is probably late 20s, and it can range up to late 60s, just depending on where someone is taking a career change.
Right.
Yeah, it's a pretty broad range. It seems like the majority of our demographic is working professionals. So a lot of times these are folks who are coming back as a second career. They may already work as case managers or as teachers or things like that. So they've already sort of been through one program and have worked for some years, and they're coming back. We sometimes get graduate students straight out of undergraduate, but I would say that the vast majority are people who are actually coming back probably for either a second career or or they want to sort of enhance what they're already doing.
Right.
So
with it being kind of geared towards working professionals, because that's your primary group there, I imagine that your programs are kind of specialized in the type of schedule that you have and maybe the length of the program. Can you guys talk about when your classes take place and how long those programs are?
So most of our business programs will take about 15 months. All of our programs run Monday through Thursday, but the student has the liberty to take 1 or 2 classes, which means that class would meet one night a week. Each class meets one night a week. And the time frame is from 5:30 until 9:30.
Okay. So it's nice and easy to get after your work day.
And each class goes for nine weeks.
Okay, great. And then when they finish a program at Webster University, they're coming out with a master's degree or I know you said some of them are certificates of some sort. What kind of qualification do they come out with?
They come out with a master's degree.
Excellent, great. So what kind of, or I should say, is there any opportunity for the students to get experience outside of the classroom at Webster University? Are there any internship programs or anything like that come into play with the programs?
Yes, I'll let Dr. Wilkinson take over that one.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Especially in the counseling program, we have all of our students through state requirement, they have to complete a practicum experience as well as an internship. So early in their graduate program, they'll start doing a practicum experience where they have to go to some type of mental health facility, either a community-based center or a private practice or something like that. And there's a certain number of face-to-face contact time that they have to gain some of that experience. And then, of course, during internship, that requirement sort of expands where I think it's up to 1,000 hours that they have to have of internship, and that's all before they get their master's degree, that they have to complete that. So they do get a lot of experience, hands-on experience, working in the field before they even finish their degree.
So in the classroom, what is y'all's educational approach? Is it more hands-on, lecture, online? Because that makes a difference for where you're going to go. I love hands-on stuff. That's how I learn. But how do you guys approach that?
I would say it's a combination.
Okay.
Dr. Wilkinson is more so in the classroom, so you can give your perspective from.
Yeah, I think it depends on the course. Some courses are very amenable to hands-on. Our group course, for example, they work in groups and they're trying to, they are able to practice what they're learning from the material. Other courses are a little bit more challenging. I was joking earlier, kind of laughed earlier when I was talking about my research course, for example. Research is not typically the people's favorite class.
It wasn't mine. It wasn't mine.
So they don't like the practice stuff as much in that class. So they use lots of experiential types of activities and things to help them tie the research stuff to real life practice. So I think that the assessment is the other course that I was thinking about earlier. I knew it would come to me. But that way I get to talk about testing and all that kind of stuff. But those kinds of classes are, like assessment, are really experience driven, because the students get to actually look at the tests and work with the test and learn about them. Whereas there's other classes that are more information driven, not as much practice driven. So it does vary.
Okay. And we're getting short on time here now, but I do want to ask you guys, you really stressed that people may be starting a new career by coming to see you. They may be expanding on their career. Do you guys have any success stories that stand out in your mind? Someone who came out of Webster University and really did something great, either changing their path or just growing?
I actually have a young lady, Patty Sable, or Patricia Sable. She has her own private practice in counseling, and her practice is working with a different group of people. I'll say that, but she's doing very well there. And I don't know. Do you know of anybody else offhand that you can think of?
Well, I know of a number of people who again have shifted. They started out either as a teacher or as a caseworker or something, and saw a niche that needed to be filled, and have really taken their work at Webster and turned it into a thriving practice, a thriving profession where they're helping the people that they sort of experienced and saw needed the support that they may not have been getting before. So I think that that's been happening a number of times. We have graduates, for example, who have started schools, and
Wow.
They're now the administrator of special schools for this niche of students who need additional support that they're just not getting in the public schools. So
That's great.
yeah, there's a lot of success stories out there.
A lot of our business students have done well too, moving up with management positions. Sometimes right after they received their degree.
Wow. So to see people going out and kind of making a difference in the world with the experience that they got at Webster University, it has to be rewarding for the faculty to see that. So I want to ask you, before we run out of time, what's your favorite part of being a part of a school like Webster University?
My favorite part is because I get to sit with them as soon as they start. So I get to hear, trying to encourage them and tell them that they can do it, and then in between hear all the struggles and the challenges and trying to encourage them to get through that, and then to see them walk across that stage. I'm crying when they're walking across the stage while they're crying, so I'm celebrating with them. So my favorite part is just to see them at the graduation part. That's like my favorite part.
I love being in the classroom. So I love seeing when you're trying to teach this challenging topic or this important concept, and you can see when the student gets it, and then they can relate it to something that they're passionate about. That's that's why I teach. So
Yeah, it's like a light bulb moment.
absolutely, absolutely.
Well, thank you guys so much for being here to tell me about Webster University, and I hope that some people learned more about it, and it's more than just a sign in Lakeside Village now.
That'll be good.
I appreciate your time.
Thank
you.
you.
Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for this month. If you'd like to catch this episode again, tune into PGTV on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 1 and 7 p.m. Or you can find us on the Polk Government YouTube page. Thank you for joining me on this episode of The Buzz. I'll see you next time.